Greetings, this is Jim Lindsay. This is a orientation video for CIS141 for the summer of 2018. Welcome to the class. I'm your teacher, and what I'd like to do with you now is just basically talk about the same stuff that we would talk about at the first meeting of a face-to-face course. And so I'll introduce you to the Blackboard site as well as talk to you about the syllabus and the class calendar. So those are the things that we'll cover. I'm at the Blackboard site right now. I have this open. We'll come back to that and you'll understand the whole Harry Potter reference as we move forward. But I'd like to begin by basically starting with the syllabus. That's typically what you do in a classroom. And so I'm going to pull that document up, and you have access to this from the Blackboard site, which you'll be introduced to in just a moment. I will send this to you in a hard copy. I'll send you an electronic version of this so you can print out a hard copy with a welcome email. So let's go through this document and then move on to the calendar as well as the Blackboard site. So first of all, this class is computer, basic computer literacy, and the purpose of it is to talk about general computer topics so that you are competent using them, certainly while you're at WKU and hopefully beyond. And we also stress computer security quite a bit. To use computers competently and safely at WKU, you need to be pretty well versed in several security topics, and so we will do that in this course. This is an online course. It only lasts 5 weeks, and that is it's not a lot of time. We'll cover all the same stuff in this class that we cover in a 15-week semester, and so we're going to be covering quite a bit of material pretty quickly. And so if you don't like this, that's okay, but I want you to know right out of the gate that this is going to be a pretty intense class. And so if you would do better in a face-to-face setting or in a 15-week setting, then there's that's fine. Just go ahead and withdraw from this and sign up for the course in the fall or the spring. And it's offered every fall, every spring, and you have lots of options. And so that's the purpose of the course. That's the format of the course. My contact information is listed right here. You have my cell phone number. That's the best way to reach me. You can text me or you can call me. You also have my email address. That's also fine to send me emails. If it's something that requires some interaction, such as hey, I have questions about this, I have questions about that, just call me. That's going to be a lot faster. When you call me, if you get my voicemail, just leave a message and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm in your CIS141 class, and here's my number. Here are some times when it'd be good for you to call me back, and I will try and call you back at a time that's convenient for you. And so, but make sure you give me that number too. It's pretty common for people to call and just leave a message and then not give me a way to get back to them. That's my contact information. As far as the required materials go, we have a textbook and you need to get it. I will use the textbook quite a bit. And I've tried to structure the lessons so that they follow the order in which you see them in the textbook. I try to make it as easy as possible for you to understand what we're talking about and where to find more resources. And so this is the textbook. Here is a link to where you can get it from Amazon. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And I would rent it. If I were in your shoes, I would rent this book. I would not buy it. And when you go to the link that's on that in the syllabus, if you click up on rent, you'll see that currently it's right at about $42 for a rental. That's not too bad. I know that the textbooks can be ridiculously expensive. I took a course this last spring just because as a faculty member we get to take classes, and I spent over $200 on books and stuff like that for that one course, and so I'm sensitive to that. Here's what I would do. I would rent this book from Amazon. You can also get it from the WKU bookstore if you like, and that's if you are on scholarship and that's offered to you, that might be the best way to do it. But if you're paying yourself, renting it from one of those online sources is probably going to be the most economical way to get a hold of the book. You do need it. If you're going to use computer labs, and that's pretty rare. I think that the number of people that use computer labs in this course is going to be much smaller than during a normal semester. But if you're going to use a computer lab, you're going to need headphones, because all of these video tutorials, obviously they play. You can't listen to speakers in a regular computer lab, so you'll need headphones for that. You're going to need some version of Microsoft Office, whether that's 2011 or Office 365 or 16. You're going to need some version of Office. As a WKU student who's paying tuition and fees, which all of you are allowed to download Office 365 from WKU, and that's, you get to install it on up to 5 different computers. That's the most current version of Office. And so if you're not already using Office 365 and you have something that's older, like Office 2013, use your benefits that you're paying for and download that. There's a link right there that takes you out to that download site, and basically from Microsoft Office 365 here, it talks about there's a link right there to click on to basically download the installation file. These are tutorials right here. When you get to the SAM instruction, I'll actually cover that in a little bit more detail, and the SAM orientation lesson has links out to these individual sets of instructions. And so this is something you pay for. I advise you to take advantage of that, but you're going to need Microsoft Office, because for the SAM projects, you'll do 4 Word projects, 4 Excel projects, and 4 PowerPoint projects, and if you don't have the actual software, then you can't do the homework, and that's worth 30% of your grade. So make sure that you get that software. Again, you don't have to pay for it because you're already paying for the Office 365 through your fees. You're also going to need a broadband internet connection, and if you have dial-up, that is not going to be sufficient. If you have cable or DSL or satellite or something like that, then you're going to be fine. But a dial-up internet connection is not going to be fast enough for you, because with the video that we're going to want you to consume, if you're trying to do it through your phone, that's not going to be okay. You need a real computer. You need an actual laptop or a desktop machine which you can use to complete this work. Now, you can go to WKU labs, and if you're close to a regional campus, you could even go to like a Glasgow, an E-Town, Owensboro. You could go to a public library if as long as you budget your time, and or you could do it from work. But you need to think about all those things now before this class really gets started, because if you don't have those resources set up and ready to go like now, then when you need them, you're probably going to, something unfortunate is going to happen, and you're going to end up missing points and missing assignments and stuff like that. So those are the things that you need. You need, you're going to need a computer, you're going to need an internet connection, you're going to need a browser program like Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome on that machine. You're going to need software, and potentially if you're in a public place, you're going to need headphones. And so those are the things in addition to the textbook that you need. So those are required materials. Please call me if you have questions. We can talk about it. This class never meets face-to-face. It is an online class, and that's one of the benefits of it. And so all the work is done through an internet virtual connection. And so if you need to reach me, you have my contact information. We will use the Blackboard site extensively. I think that this type of learning is actually much harder than face-to-face learning. And face-to-face learning, you get to ask questions. If you don't understand something, just raise your hand. And a lot of the times, as we look around the room, there are all sorts of nonverbal cues that we give each other. If you're working on something and I'm looking at your face and you look perplexed, it's like, hey, well, tell me what's going on. How can I help you? We don't get that in this online environment, so I think it's much harder. So you have to work harder to basically keep me informed if you're not understanding things. So, be calling me, be letting me know what's going on. It's a great format if you're a working person, if you're a working person with a family. Most of you at WKU, just about every student I have has a job, and I know summertime is the time to basically build up as much money in your bank account as you can. So I get that, but there is definitely a drawback to online learning. That's where we don't get that personal face-to-face interaction. So what are we going to do with this class? Well, as you get to this section of the syllabus, the activities we're going to perform on a regular basis, I will ask you to read. I will give you informative lectures like this one, and most of them are going to be over topics that you read about from the chapter. And so what I would do is, like, when we're going to cover chapter 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or chapter, whatever, just browse through it really quickly and then watch that lesson and then go back and read it carefully. By browsing through it very quickly, you're just going to kind of familiarize yourself with some terms that when I start to hit those in that lecture, you can then start to take your notes. And I would write all over your book. I would take copious notes, and then when you go back to read, that stuff should make a lot more sense. We're also going to complete those SAM projects, which I've alluded to already, and there will be 3 regular exams that you'll take over the chapter material. Those exams are going to be available for 48 hours, and they are timed. So you get 30 seconds per question. That's with online classes for our department. That is our policy, basically 30 seconds per question. I have practice tests out there, which I'll show you in just a minute from the Blackboard site. You should rehearse. You should basically get ready to take the test by going through and doing the practice exams as many times as you have time as time permits you to do. But the people that do well are people that basically take those practice tests in advance, because it gets you used to, 1, the format, where you're seeing questions in a timed format, and then 2, you're seeing the actual questions for the real test. And so that's that 4th thing that we'll be doing on a regular basis. Now, there's also a proctored final exam. It's comprehensive. You have to take it in person at a specific place. Now, you get to pick where that is through the testing center. That must be completed on Thursday or Friday, July 5th or 6th. And you don't have to come to Bowling Green. You don't have to go to a WKU campus, but you need to, through the WKU testing center, get that coordinated where you're going to take that. You basically have to show up in person with identification and take that test. It's worth, I want to say 350 points. It's worth a lot of points, because if somebody's been having someone else do their stuff for them, it's worth enough points that if you don't pass that, then you're not going to pass the class. You basically have to show up and then demonstrate that you are proficient in these ideas that we've been working on and covering with these 3 regular exams up here. And so the 3 regular exams, they're timed, but you can take those from home, you can take those from a library, you can take those from work. As long as you complete those during that 48-hour window, which they are offered, you're good. But with the comprehensive exam, you have to show up at a specific place and time that you choose with the WKU testing center, and complete that assessment. If you have questions about that, contact me. Again, call me. And I want to cover this with you like right now, right out of the gate, because if you're not going to be available on July 5th or 6th, if you're going to be in Tahiti or the Bahamas or something like that, and there's just like no way that you can possibly take the test then you need to probably get out of the class. I mean, it's that's the one requirement time-wise, for those at some point during those 2 days, you need to go and take that test somewhere. So, okay, so that's the stuff that we're going to be doing on a regular basis. As far as the grading goes, let me get this to snap together a little bit better. You get graded on these items listed right here. There's a syllabus quiz. That syllabus quiz it's 11 questions. It's worth 11 points. And the whole point of the syllabus quiz is to make sure that you've read the syllabus, that you've listened to this, and that you understand what's expected of you. You can have the syllabus open. You should have the syllabus open. I mean, this is the one thing that while you're testing, you can actually have time to look stuff up. There are the 12 projects that you complete through SAM. Again, you're going to get the detailed SAM briefing a little bit. there are the 3 regular exams. There's a comprehensive final exam, and then altogether that comes to 1,000 points. And let me check one thing real quickly here. All right, so you have 1,000 possible points. You need to get 900 or more points for an A, 800 to 899 for a B, and so on. This is the scale. It's the standard grading scales that we're going to use. The last day that you can drop this class without a grade is June 6th, and the last day that you can drop the class with a grade of W is the 19th. After June 19th, you're stuck with me. And so if you're not liking what we're doing, make sure that you get out, by like mid-afternoon on June 19th to make sure that you can still get out. Our department does not authorize late audits, late withdrawals, and so you have plenty of time to figure that out. You get so I look at the calendar here. That gives you a good 2.5 weeks to basically figure out whether you're going to like it or not. But you have to make that decision by mid-afternoon on June 19th. As far as grading principles go, there are the 12 homework assignments. Once the deadline for those passes, you cannot do something late. You cannot redo something. Now let me restate that. When you're doing the SAM projects before their deadline, you get to do those up to 5 times each, and so you get to redo assignments as long as it's before the deadline. But once the deadline passes, that homework is gone and those points are done. If you have questions about something, about a grade, please contact me within a week. In addition to this class, I have another class, and so I'm going to have I'll have about 50 students this summer, 45 to 50 students, and we'll be doing, and the other class is really grading, like a lot, very project heavy, and so I'm going to be grading a lot of stuff. And so if you don't get me within a week, I'm probably not going to remember exactly, why things are the way they are. So I give you a week to basically contact me and say, hey, this seems weird to me. Can we, let's talk about this. Again, call me, and then we'll talk about any questions that you have about grades, but do that within a week. I will send you emails. I'll do that through Blackboard. So whatever WKU thinks is your preferred email address, that's where, because I send it through Blackboard, that's where it's going to go. So let's say you check your Gmail account, you never check your WKU Topper account, that's going to be a problem, because when I send stuff through Blackboard, it's going to go by default, by its normal behavior, it's going to go to your topper.wku.edu account. If you want to change that, here are the instructions for doing that so that you can get it anywhere you want it to go. But I'm going to send you email through Blackboard, and as a result of that, I'm going to expect that you have received it and that you are basically responsible for that, knowing that information. We will use that Blackboard site for everything. That's as much as I dislike Blackboard and I cuss Blackboard every day, it is a good site. It is a good system, and so we will use that to disseminate information, to give you links to get out there to get resources, and so we will be using Blackboard very much. If you have questions about it at all, call me, and so we can let me kind of walk you through if you have anything that you're having problems with. If you are a veteran or if you are a dependent of a veteran, there is a resource on campus called the WKU Veterans Resource Center, and it's an awesome place. It's down at Tate Page Hall, and they provide many different benefits. These are benefits that you've earned through your service, and so, or that you've earned through your family member's service, and so take advantage of that. So one of the things they can do for you is help you with textbooks. And as many times as we've used this textbook, as many semesters as we've used it, this is kind of a good class for that. So contact that Veterans Resource Center. They're in Tate Page Hall. There's their website right there. Give them a call, and take advantage of some of those things they can help you with. Okay, this next one is not pleasant, but it's very important. Don't cheat on anything. And if we were in class, I'd basically have you read that and then kind of soak on it and think about it. I'm very strict about this. I think everybody has to do their own work. Everybody has to carry their own water. Do not cheat. And where you will be tempted to cheat in this class is primarily on SAM projects. The SAM projects have software built, basically things built into the software so that it detects that stuff. And it tells me. You could turn in somebody's homework from Ohio State from 2007, and it would tell me that. And so please don't cheat, because if you cheat, what the penalty is you will automatically fail the course. And there's no one thing in this class besides the final exam. There's no one thing in this class that if you missed it that you couldn't pass. I mean, you could skip like a whole round of SAM projects and still make a B. You could miss an entire exam and still make a B. It's just the final exam, again, is the only thing where it's point value. If you skip the final exam, you won't pass. But everything else is kind of expendable. It's done like that on purpose. It's a 100 level class. We try to give you lots of different chances to succeed. This is not one of those classes where you have a midterm and a final and those are your only grades. So if you get tempted to turn somebody else's stuff in, don't, because you will get caught. And if you do get caught, that penalty is going to be failure for the course. On top of that, then we notify the student conduct office, and they basically keep track of it. And if you do it again, then potentially they'll kick you out of the university. And so, in addition to that, please note that this policy also pertains to the future. We had this come up this last semester. Somebody in one of the courses basically took somebody's work from a preceding semester, and we ended up going back and taking that person from the preceding semester and failing them out. And so we're real serious about this. Please don't cheat. It's just, again, it's not worth it, and the consequences are very severe. So if you have questions, call me, but please don't use somebody else's work and don't share your work even in the future. If you got a buddy in the future says, come on man, give me your project, say no. Okay. If anybody has an accommodation form from the SARC office, the Student Accessibility Office, please get that to me immediately. Call me and tell me that that's coming, because that's going to basically I will have to coordinate a whole bunch of stuff to make sure that can happen. I need to get your accommodation form, look at it, we need to talk about it, and then if we are going to make some sort of accommodation, that takes time, and it's only a 5-week course. And so if you don't get me those accommodation forms and then it becomes test time, sorry Charlie, you're testing with everybody, and so that takes time. And so if you have one of those accommodation forms, get those to me ASAP, and then call me and then we're going to talk about it. The section right here, this is talking about some stuff that these next two sections I think are important. WKU has recently had instructors add this to every syllabus that we write. So hopefully you're seeing this in all of your syllabi. But these are things that you can do basically if you experience any sort of harassment or assault at the university. You can go to teachers, you can go to administrators, you can go to staff on campus, and you can let them know what's going on, and we can try to help you. I am what's called a responsible employee, and if you report something to me, I am bound by law to basically report that to our Title IX coordinator. And if you experience some sort of harassment or assault and you want to do that in a confidential manner, you can contact the counseling center at WKU, and they can work with you in a confidential manner. So I think it's really important for you guys to know that what are your options. If something's happened, please tell somebody. If you want to talk to somebody in a confidential manner, then you have to go through that counseling service that's basically up at Potter Hall. The Next thing I want to share with you is basically this food pantry, and this is something that was brought to the faculty's attention, I think, very well this last semester at the Faculty Senate. And so the Office of Sustainability basically has a food pantry on it. And one of the things that you may not think about, there are people that are students at WKU, and like I said earlier, so many people work. A lot of students are working just to pay for their food and their rent and their tuition. And sometimes it comes down to a choice. Am I going to eat, or am I going to pay for school? If you're in that boat, if you're needing food, there is a food pantry on campus. You can go, and this is directly from their website. It's over on Regents Avenue. It's just right across from MMTH. So that, about half a block over from MMTH, and you can show up there and you can basically get food. And so if you're hungry, please go and see these guys, because if you're hungry, there's no way you're going to be concentrating on hard drives and storage and bandwidth and stuff like that. You're going because you're hungry. And so you take advantage of this help that you can get. Get yourself where you're cared for, and then crush those assignments and get good grades. And so that's something that I think you're going to start seeing in other people's syllabus as well. But that's a really good thing I think SGA has been working on recently. This last part of the syllabus, this is something, if you're going to be a teacher, this is something that you would want to pay attention to, especially. These are the objectives for this course. This course is part of the College of Business, and as the College of Business, there are certain things we want, with our accreditation body, there are certain things we want to make sure we're teaching our students, and there's something called assurance of learning. This whole initiative, this AOL initiative, is basically something to verify that people are actually learning what you want them to learn. And believe me, that's kind of hard. It's not just somebody's grade. I mean, how do you actually prove that somebody learned something that you wanted to teach them? And so that's what this assurance of learning initiative is. It's all part of our accreditation. And so these are objectives for this specific course. These are our plans on how we plan to do that, how we plan to basically, assess whether we're actually teaching you what we want to be teaching you. So you can read through there, and there are several, but critical thinking, task, technical competency, these are things we want to make sure that we're instilling you with. And so that's the syllabus. What I'll do next is I'll jump over to the class calendar and talk to you about the things we're going to do and the order in which we'll tackle those. And then lastly, we'll talk about the Blackboard website. Okay, so let's move over to the class calendar. I'm going to jump over here to the calendar, and this is available as well on the Blackboard site for you. I'll show you where that is in just a minute. But as you look at this, we start class on June 4th, and we finish on July the 6th, and so this calendar covers that every day. And obviously, I hope as you read this you realize that you don't have to do something every single day. But I've taken the 35 days we have of this class. There are 32 usable days within this time frame, and I broke those into thirds. And so I named each one of those thirds after a character from the Harry Potter books. I think most of you guys have read the books or seen the movies, and so Harry, Hermione, and Ron, those are names that resonate with you. And so, and while I know that's kind of juvenile, that's okay. Each different chunk has specific chapters in it. So for example, in this first module, the one named after Harry Potter, it starts on June 4th, it runs through June 13th. Each of these is about 10 days long. And you'll see that the orientation takes place, that your SAM project's orientation takes place, and then chapters 1 through 4 are covered in this module. What sorts of homework do you have? What sorts of projects do you have to do during this time period? Well, The syllabus quiz, the first thing that you're supposed to do in the course, that needs to be completed on these 2 days, and it's available Monday and Tuesday, and I'll show you on Blackboard where that is available. Also, you'll see exam 1. We've already talked about these timed tests. That will be available on Tuesday and Wednesday, June 12th and June 13th. And so as you look at this, what I hope you're going to do is you'll take each of these events and put them into your calendar, and then tie that in with your work schedule, tie that in with any traveling you're going to do, and figure out how you're going to get these chapters read and take the practice tests and get ready for these exams, as well as there are 2 dates where SAM projects are due. The first one is halfway through the semester. I think this was 19 days in. Might have been 15 days in, but basically the first, all of the PowerPoint projects, and then the first two Word projects are due on June the 19th. And as you come down here to the bottom of the calendar, when we get to the third module, the one named for Ron Weasley, you'll see that you also have another round of SAM projects due on the very last day of the class. There are 4 Excel projects and then 2 of the Word projects, Word 3 and Word 4. You'll see that exam 3 basically is available for 3 days because the 4th of July falls in here. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not working on the 4th of July. So I made that one available. But if you want to take the test during that period, feel free. That's when exam 3 will be available on July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And the final exam is available on July 5th and 6th. Again, we've already talked about how you need to schedule that with the testing center. And so that's how you read this calendar. Chapters 9, 12, and 13 are part of this module for Ron. This is where the security stuff comes in. So it lists only 3 chapters, but that's more like 4. So you get like 4 chapters from that. This is about 4 chapters worth of material and 4 chapters worth of material. So it's pretty equally distributed, and I think the homework is distributed as equally as possible throughout there. If you have questions about this, contact me, but that's the class calendar. Now, please note that on June 24th and 5th, the university is upgrading Blackboard, and so Blackboard will not be available on those 2 days. And also, please cross your fingers that upgrade goes well, so we don't, hopefully they can kick right off at midnight on June the 26th. And so that's just kind of a natural break for us. That occurs 1, 2, 3. We're 3 weeks into this term, and then those 2 days hit, and then we've got about a week and a half left after that. And so it's kind of a nice 2-day break they give us right in the middle, because Blackboard's going to be down, and stuff tied to Blackboard is going to be down, like media site and stuff like that. So that's what we have. If you have any questions, again, call me. But that is the calendar, and you can access this through Blackboard. I've alluded to Blackboard several times. Let me show you the Blackboard site. You jump over here to my browser. This is the Blackboard site, and I'll be showing you announcements. Will include pictures from the Harry Potter movies, just to try and keep things, keep reminding you, hey, this is the chunk we're in, these are the things we're covering in each of those chunks, and this is sort of a welcome message. It is May 22nd, and so class doesn't officially begin until June the 4th, but the class is open, so if you want to start working, you can. You can't take any tests until the test days, so you can do the syllabus quiz now. If you want to get the syllabus quiz over with and out of the way, feel free to do that. You can take that, by the way, as many times as you want to get up to the 11 possible points from it. I think it'll take you probably twice to get maybe the full score. But you can't take any of the exams like exam 1 or exam 2, exam 3 or the final until those scheduled days. The SAM projects, however, you can start working on those now. And so I created the SAM site and your SAM accounts today. And so if you want to get in there and actually just kind of get that stuff over with before the class even really begins on June 4th, that would be excellent. You can start, it gives you about a week and a half to get this stuff knocked out. before you get into the semester. So this is the announcement page. I'll try and keep you informed of what's going on a very regular basis. I will be traveling just before the term starts, and so if you contact me, like just before the term starts, I may be I'm going to be up in Michigan for WKU, but I'll be trying to keep up with this and getting right back in contact with you as much as possible. Okay, so this is the announcements page of Blackboard. My contact information is listed right there. There's my phone number, there's my email address. The syllabus and class calendar are available right there. I will email you the syllabus here just shortly, and if you want the calendar, it is tentative. If let's say that Blackboard upgrade goes badly and I have to adjust something, I reserve the right to basically adjust this if necessary. Here's where you're going to spend most of your time on the lessons page. You have the Harry, Hermione, and Ron modules. In each one of these, you have the lessons. Let me open this guy up. So you'll see you're right here in the class orientation right now. There's the SAM project orientation, and then all the stuff you need for Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4. And so this is where you consume the information as you prepare for exams. When you take exams, those are all available on this quizzes and exams page. If you look at this, you'll see, for example, that the syllabus quiz is there, ready to go. Again, you can take that as many times as you want, up through its deadline, which is 11:59 p.m. Central Time on June the 5th. Here are the practice tests. If you click on that folder right there, these are the practice tests for Harry, Hermione, and Ron. And again, please take these as many times as you can. So again, this is all the stuff you're seeing on this quizzes and exams page. At midnight on June 6th, this is going to disappear. And then when we look at the calendar here, so at midnight or at 12:01 a.m. on Tuesday, June the 12th, that exam 1 is going to show up on this page. That's how this thing works. And so stuff will only show up here when it's available and in its window. Let me show you the SAM projects page. It's right there. This is there's a detailed SAM orientation that is part of the Harry Potter module. You'll get that. But these are the links to the tutorial movies for each one of the projects. Can't stress that enough. For every single project, there's a step-by-step movie showing you exactly what to do. Watch them. So watch the movie as you work. As you work on the project. It's pretty common for people to miss that and then contact me and say, I don't know how to do this. Well, you watch the movie, man, because we don't expect you to know how to do it. So these are the tutorials for each of those projects, and this is all available from that SAM projects page on the Blackboard site. The tools area is where you do things like check your grades. IT help desk, I left this link open. This isn't an online class and you're going to be using your computer, so I left that available. When you click on that, it opens a tab in the browser up here where basically you can get access to the WKU helpline. So let's say you're having weird problems with your net ID or your email account or something like that. These are the guys you call, the guys and the girls you call, 745-7000. And then lastly, there's a page here for register for the final exam. I've submitted my request to the testing center for us to have our final exam on July 5th and 6th, and they've approved that, but they haven't given me the instructions yet. What you'll do is you'll click on this, then right here shortly, hopefully by the time you guys are actually logging on and looking at this page, there's going to be a list of instructions of exactly how you register for the final exam. You do that through the Distance Learning Testing Center. It's easy, and their phone number is going to be listed on here too. You can give them a call. They'll walk you through it. They're very helpful. And that's like, you guys pay extra money for these online classes, and that's what you're paying for. One of the things is basically the support for things like registering for proctored tests, and so take advantage of that. And so that is the orientation. So hopefully you understand the syllabus, you understand the calendar, and you understand the Blackboard site well. If you have questions, please call me. There's my phone number right there. and I look forward to working with you this summer. I hope that it's going to be informative, and I hope that you will enjoy it. Thank you for your time and attention.